The big finish tonight. Voters soundly rejected austerity measures, but Mitt Romney, he just doesn't get it.
We're going to take America in a very different place. He's taking America on a path towards Europe. And Europe's not working there. It's not going to work here. Europe's in real trouble as their debts mount, as people demand more and more from government, and government has to borrow more and more to satisfy their demands.
Well, Mister, here's the reality. In 2 elections, voters have experienced the most severe austerity measures, said no more. In France, the incumbent Nicolas Sarkozy lost, and voters there elected the first socialist in 2 decades. In Greece, neither of the 2 major candidates could get 40% of the vote. Both of those candidates supported austerity measures. Mitt Romney, he's got it all wrong. It's not President Obama taking us on a path toward Europe. Hell, it's Mitt Romney. If he is elected president, Europe has instituted extreme austerity measures, the same kind of severe cuts Republicans want to make here in America. I'm joined tonight by E.J. Dionne, MSNBC contributor, columnist for The Washington Post, and senior fellow at the Brookings Institution. EJ, great to have you with us tonight. You know, really, you couldn't write a better script against what the Republicans want to do. Is this not just a perfect example with 2 elections in Europe and a double-dip recession? Tells us really what we could be in for if the Republicans really get a hold of the budget? What do you think?
I think that's true, Ed. I mean, if you take Britain, for example, the Conservatives took power, and they had a more moderate brand of austerity than what our Conservatives would probably do here. And at the end of this austerity program, they've just thrown Britain back into recession. That does not seem to be where we want to go. The voters in France had a choice in this election, and Hollande ran very hard against the austerity program that Mr. Sarkozy and Chancellor Merkel have put in place. And on election night, when he won, he said austerity need not be Europe's fate, and it need not be our fate either. And I think the result in Greece should really scare people a little bit about what happens when you drive the living standards of average working people down. It's not only that the Greeks rejected the 2 moderate parties of the left and right, they actually gave a lot of votes for the first time to a kind of neo-fascist, neo-Nazi party called Golden Dawn. We don't want those kind of movements arising in the world. I think conservatives do any more than progressives do. But if you really grind down people's standard of living, you get all kinds of reactions. And that's one of them.
Well, E.J., I really think that this is a pushback and a big statement against greed. And I think that we have an undercurrent of that taking place in America right now. You have got a budget that is being presented and a blueprint that is being presented by the Republicans that goes after the poor, that goes after low-income women, that goes after wage earners, and very similar, very parallel to what has happened in Europe. And here we go. I think that the Obama team could not have a better script written for him or a better example out there. But isn't this about greed? Your thoughts?
Well, I think that's some of it. And if you look at France, Hollande sort of relatively late in the campaign called not for the 30% rate on the rich. He called for a 75% tax rate on the really, really rich in France. And I think he did that because he was responding to a sense that a lot of French voters had, that there was something unjust about the economy. But the other thing that struck me today, paradoxically, is a lot of people said, well, the socialists are going to win in France and the markets are going to go kablooey. And guess what? The markets didn't go kablooey. I'm starting to think that a fair number of rich people who are in those markets realize that if you continue with austerity, you're going to hurt the economy. And they're actually glad that some people are talking about putting money in average people's pockets because that's what gets the economy moving again.
Political question. Do you think the Obama campaign should point to what has unfolded in Europe and use the word austerity?
I think they should use the word austerity. Of course, Lord knows what would happen to them if they ever praised the victory of a socialist in France. The truth is, Hollande is a very moderate kind of center-left sort of figure. So I don't think they're going to be pointing to France. But I would, because I think what happened there is very much the kind of center-left coalition that came together that President Obama needs to put together here without the socialist label, of course.
E.J. Dion, always great to have you with us on The Ed Show. Thanks for your take and insight again tonight. Appreciate it. That's The Ed Show. I'm Ed Schultz.